Good evening to all. I am Subramaniam, working as a professor in SNS College of Technology. In this session, we are going to see about the IC engines and the power plant engineering in the unit and the working principle of a petrol engine. So, this working principle of petrol engine, before we enter into the chapter, we just recall it. So, the petrol engine, you can see, if you see the petrol engine, it must have the spark plug. Main point is spark plug. Whereas there must be camshaft and camshaft spring, camshaft, and there's a cam is there. Now the valve spring will be located on both the springs. This is known as the inlet valve, and this is known as the exhaust valve. So in petrol engines, the fuel intake will be the mixture will be entering into the cylinder through the intake port. And here the air-filled mixture will be entering into where the piston rings moves from the top dead center to the bottom dead center, the TDC to BDC, and it will be located with the rest pin. Or the piston will be located with the holder of the rest pin, and this is the whole assembly of the piston. The whole assembly of the cylinder, which is located inside the cylinder, and it is connected to the crankshaft with the help of the crank pin and cutting rod. The crankshaft will be rotated, the crank will be rotated in a single point, which will be rotates the crankshaft. The crankshaft will be rotated such that the crank pin, which is situated in the crankshaft, will move up and tends to move the piston up and down. Here you have a brief picture of self. So the DT empathy on the 5 pillars, based on the 5 pillars, the working principle of petrol engine. We see in this one the essential working principle of petrol engines and what are its key functions and components of the engines, process involved in the transforming the fuel into a mechanical energy. When the fuel energy or the chemical energy which has been input into the cylinder, the inlet valve opens and the mixture has been entered the cylinder when the piston moves from the top dead center to the bottom dead center, and this is the bore size. On the bore size, equally it will be the piston will be there, and there must not be any gap there, so the piston rings will be provided, so that there will be no gap between the cylinder wall and the piston wall itself. When the piston moves from the top to bottom to center, the inlet valve opens and the fuel mixture enters into the cylinder. And where the piston moves from TDC to BDC with the help of the cutting rod, which is connected to the crank pin and to the crankshaft itself. So you can see from the top to bottom center, it moves with the crank pin rotates from the TDC to BDC, half circle of the stroke itself. After the mixture has been entered into the cylinder, then the piston tends to move from the bottom dead center to top dead center, from BDC to TDC. That is, when the piston moves from the B to A. This is B to A. It compresses the air-filled mixture inside the cylinder, which in turn burns as heat energy. The heat energy is converted to electrical energy through the spark plug and is transmitted to the engine itself. At the same time, after the compression has been over, the gas has been exhausted through the exhaust valve, where when the inlet port is closed and the exhaust port is opened due to the high pressure of the pressure in the cylinder, and the burn gas escapes through the exhaust valve. So this is a combustion chamber when the piston rings are be followed in the cylinder itself. There are cooling fins are attached to the cylinder wall, such that the cylinder must not get more heated. And here is the definition of the gasoline engines or the fuel engines. It operates on internal combustion engine itself of the petrol within the engine cylinder itself. And it converts the chemical energy into the mechanical energy, where in turn the mechanical energy is turned to power energy to the given power to the vehicles. But here, this internal combustion are most widely used in automobiles, motorcycles, and small machineries also, rarely. And petrol engines are cornerstone of the modern and transportation equipments. We see about the 2-stroke and 4-stroke engines. There are two types of 2-stroke and 4-stroke engines. Both are the petrol engines. Petrol engines must be having this spark plug. A spark plug will be located on the engine itself. Here also located the spark plug in the 4-stroke engine. So this idea is we have the cylinder, piston, crankshaft, and spark plug. All the 4 important components, the main components of the petrol engines. So if you have cylinder where fuel combustion occurs and it houses in the piston itself, where in the metal cylinder, the piston, there's a metal cylinder is located there which compresses the air fluid and transfers the force generated by the combustion itself. Next is spark plug, which is spark plug where the air fluid is been turned in the cylinder at the right moment and efficient combustion. Crankshaft converts the linear motion of the piston into the rotational motion, ultimately powering the vehicle's wheels. So the petrol engines are the higher power weight ratio and smooth power ratios and quieter operations. In this we can see about the questions. The air fluid mixture mixed in the options. Air fluid mixture is where carburetor, cylinder, or engine or crank. And similarly, where the separated from the diesel engine is a port or piston or spark plug. For the first one, you have option A as carburetor where the air fluid mixture has been mixed. And for the second option, we have the option C, which is spark plug is present in the cylinder itself. With this, we come to the end of this session. Thank you for it.